Hi.
Okay.
Hi. My name's Christopher Runtsman. Welcome to the One Page Story Extravaganza podcast, where, inspired by suggestions or ideas for one-page stories that come my way, I produce at least one finished one-page story every day. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm gonna pull up our page from yesterday, and here we go. Yesterday's page is full on Vice. The suggestion for it was Miami Vice, an action story with the Miami Vice characters, and and I thought an action story, in that heat. So I can't. There's a problem with me in trying to do something, in a kind of a straightforward fashion, and that is I'm not good at it, right? So whenever it comes up an idea, and it's from suggestions and ideas that people throw at me, my brain still goes sideways a lot. And so what I mean by sideways is that when somebody says do an action thing, all I can think about is how hot it is in Miami, and the idea of running around through the streets of Miami and cops and robbers, cops chasing robbers. Or bad guys. It's just too hot for all that. It's too much running. Anyhow, so I drew this in Sharpie, a Sharpie marker, on a big piece of orange construction paper. And so if you want to see the finished originals, I post them on my Patreon page. The link's below the video. The originals, and it's like $3 a month. That's Canadian, right? So that's like a nickel in other currencies. All right. Anyways, time to work on today's page. So let's pull this off for a second. I've got an announcement up at the top. I'm going to leave that up there for a sec, but I am going to switch over to our overhead camera, and which doesn't seem as bright after that gigantically orange paper. Okay, so I've got my studio set up a little bit different now, so that it's more readily available to see things in a larger scale, and and it works for me. So I got to get the book out. That's what I need to do. Let's get the book out. So this is the book I keep all these ideas and suggestions that come to me in, and it's very, very much a secret what's going on in here. And I usually, so the second part of this is that I don't generally decide what I'm going to do before the stream, because I'm working on other things in the morning. And it's so much so that because I'm working on other things in the morning, there's always around noon, I got to post the page for today. And so as far as it goes for deciding on the page for today, I tend to like the idea of doing that, at the moment of. So and what I tend to do is scratch off the submission from the day before, check, and check, please. And so we've got a couple of different opportunities that are laid out before us. Some new suggestions have come in. I've got, so there's some comments coming in already. Chandler the Handler says, good afternoon. And it's my book of tricks. BOT, book of tricks, box of tricks, bag of tricks. It's we're trying to start a BOT movement, I think. So if you've got a BOT in your studio space, or whether it's for writing or music or for visual arts, some of us are taking a calling at our BOTs. Box of tricks, bag of tricks. In my case, it's a book of tricks. So, yeah. All right. So there's some suggestions that we've got right now. There's who will back you in a fight? My cat will. That's a suggestion from Dee Dee. We've got Teletubbies. I don't want to draw Teletubbies. All right, drawing conspiracies and reading chickens. You know, it was right there. This is in relation to a page that came up last week about what came first, the chicken or the egg. And so in the course of drawing this page, it's inspired somebody to want to draw chickens on their stream. And then somebody on that stream that I was following as well said, you should do a one page because of I said they're drawing conspiracies and reading chickens instead of the other way around. And so now that's the suggestion. So everything comes around a ways, I guess. Didi and Philip are having a chat here. That's awesome. Okay, so drawing conspiracies and reading chickens. I like the idea of it, and I think that there's a part of me that wants to look at it in the sense of, I'm going to flip this over because I have a pre-made grid pattern on my pages. I drew this up, and then I had a number of them printed, 100 or so, I think, and I haven't had them for, I'm almost out. I got to go get some more of these done, and this is on top of all of the, I don't know if you can see the stack in the camera. This is the 8.5 by 11 cardstock pages that I've done this year. So I have the same for the 11 by 17. So, but that's more than just on the one pages. That's, okay. So, all right. I think we're ready to rock. Somebody's saying that it's freezing. I don't think I've seen any breaks here. Let me know if that keeps up. Please, let me know if that keeps up in the stream here, gang. All right, so let's do our page on drawing conspiracies and reading chickens. The announcements for today is new pages, an upcoming new book, and new socks. As I call it, the trifecta of newness. The newness. Didi says, that's a lot, Christopher. Oh, the pages. Yeah. I got a problem. So, one of the things that I did in the page from yesterday is that I had a lot of fun drawing silhouettes of people running. Just because rather than just keep drawing the same detectives over and over again, I drew them, but just as silhouettes. And I had a lot of fun doing that. So I want to do a little more of that today. No new underwear? Underwear? No, it's just joking. Still the same old underwear. 6 years and counting. No, I'm just, Oh my goodness. We're going to scare the kids. Okay. All right. Today, I'm going to get away from, I've done a lot of pencil pages. Let's switch it up a notch. Let's draw some ink. So I've got this Papermate pen, and I tend to do, I'm going to do something here throughout the stream. It's going to seem a little bit weird, but I roll the pen on the back of my hand. Chris, there's things like paper towel and cloths for that. Yes, but even if I put one out, I'll get to put one out. No, it's in the other room. I'm not doing it. I do it anyways. You know what I mean? You get into a habit in your studio, you're going to do it anyways. Okay, so I thought it might be fun for the conspiracy page to start off, read out the hop with my thought in my head is Keystone Cops. If anybody's familiar with Keystone Cops, feel free to comment on that in the chat. But Keystone Cops is where my brain is right now for drawing this page. For some reason, we're talking about conspiracies, and I want to start the dialogue with the hijinks of the authority personnel and the police and the feds and the men in black, and I'm gonna have them running around a little bit like it's hijinks have ensued. So on the new, what do we got? On the topics, what do we got? New socks? We've covered that. What were the other ones? I got new pages and an upcoming new book. Okay. I write these down for a reason, folks. With the new books stuff, the amount of things that I'm having to do for in preparation for the book's release with the publisher is huge. It's lots and lots and lots of stuff, and it's a strange headspace because this is stuff that I've done before with a lot of the the books that we've published at Runciman Press RP Comics over the years. But because I did it on a regional level, to do it for where this venture is going, which is on an international level, isn't even grossly comparable. The amount of preparation and stuff that has to be done now. So I am learning far more things about myself and my process and than I would ever have considered otherwise. So that's kind of fun. Didi's got a question. It's, will the Keystone Cups or the chickens be wearing socks? It's a good question. I gotta hope so. Otherwise, running around in those boots, they're gonna stink. Their feet are gonna stink. I'm just saying, they could stink. Okay, so starting today in ballpoint pen, this is an inexpensive pen. It's a Papermate 1.0 millimeter, maybe, yeah, or monkey. And this tends to be my favorite ballpoint to draw with for some reason. I've drawn with a few ballpoint pens in my time. And I just, for some reason, I prefer these, and I'm comfortable with understanding, how much ink before it starts dolloping up on the side, and you have to get it off so that it doesn't put that little ball or wad of ink on your page, and then you smudge it, and you got this fantastically ugly line there. Nobody wants that, huh? Nobody wants that. So let's just take it easy. Clean that off. I'd be curious to find out if anybody in the stream today. Here's a funny thing. If you've ever done contracts about creative ventures with creative types, okay, having a pretty straightforward agreement about here's what we're doing and here's the reality, the ins and outs of it. That's one thing. You can do that on a level. But as soon as you get into a level that involves more and more economics, royalty fees, residuals, all that stuff, you got to start really clarifying things for people. Because let's be honest, artists and writers can be a little bit picky, and I want this project specifically to look like ABC. And so some of this paperwork stuff is specifically aimed towards once we're X amount of the way through this process, you can't carry on about, well, I don't like how that O is printed in the text. I'm missing some stuff. Oh, it's Rachel. Rachel's joined us. Hi, Rachel. Good afternoon. How has your week been going? Judy says, I only work for a company that published books. We were just employed by the company. No contracts. So you were the publisher, or you were working for the publisher? See, on a regional level, you can say, listen, you want to put your thing in here, let's put your thing in here, and I'll give you a bunch of copies of the book, and, hey. But when you get to larger venues, boy, you really got to juggle some things. It's interesting, though, Dee. I don't expect anybody to give up who that was or anything like that, or Dee Dee, I don't know what to say. The artists, oh boy, the artists and writers. I tell you, the term, I would say, specificity. That's the problem. Rachel says it's been a week, so to say. Well, I hope the rest of the week is going to be much better. I really, truly do. You're a good person. You need to have a good week. If not, who do we take it out on? Go to Walmart. Get one of those. Get a motorized cart and go to Walmart and just have a go at it. Get yourself a broom or a mop or something from that aisle. And that robot mall or the robot Walmart floor cleaner, yeah. It's jousting time. Huh? That might make you feel good. Dee says we were full-time employees. Oh my gosh. Rach, rest your eyes. Rest your eyes. Specificity. If you can say it without spitting. Yeah, I can just spit. Yeah, sure. Specificity is the thing that I think is where you'll see an awful lot of characters going on about their projects and their material with the production departments places where I don't think many people realize they're not, being the most agreeable people on planet Earth. Right? Right? Just, yeah. I sat in a chair waiting for some things to be printed at a local printing company that I was doing my some of my books with. And as I'm waiting for my thing, and it's going to take a few minutes, I get it. And then another one of the people come up to help this, lady who was exasperated when she walked through the door. They're going to help her with her pick up her project, and they bring it up to the counter and they put it on the counter there for her to grab a hold of. Well, she starts going over the thing. She's already proofed this because it's been printed. So it's already been proofed. And she said, okay, for them to go onto that stage. I know for a fact, because that's how it works. And yet I watched this lady doing all of this business, looking at, because the black letters in the type weren't black enough. And she was thinking that the whole job should be printed again. And the job's like that thick of these, which is probably not even necessary of these posters for this event. And it was for an event in White Oaks in London. If you're local and you want to, try to figure out who this was. And she was right up the nose of the young lady that's working at the counter. Many of these people that work in print shops are just out of school or still in school. And usually the ones that have years and years of experience, they're busy getting stuff printed in the back of these shops usually. But the ones that are at the front are usually the young people that, I could take a look at, see what they say in the back. Yeah, you do that. It's tricky. It's a tricky situation for people because how much are you going to put up with? Anyways, creative types, they could be nightmare fuel for production types. As much as we want the beautiful, pretty thing that we've always dreamt of, that we've created, we still got to remember that there's, somebody's printing it that's making X amount of dollars. And if it's not perfect for you, don't take it out on the kids. Don't take it out on the children. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Okay, so I'm drawing the ephemera in sort of a silhouette on this guy as they're running. I think it's just easier to reduce a lot of it down to a heavy contrast black and white. And so as I'm working with the ballpoint pen, and I don't know if you draw with ballpoint pen, I'm sure that many of you do, and you do it rather nicely. But if you, it's all about, even with your regular old pen, about how much pressure and control that you have when you're making your lines. So in the elbow, if I come down very softly with my line making, you get some really nice half tones. It's half tones, right? And like I have in the mask here, and so that in certain areas, you can give things a little more depth, a little more realism to them. Like right now I'm drawing the baton on his hip, and so that's an object that has reflection, right? So I'm trying to get a little bit of that in there. This guy never stops drawing. Never. Who told? Dee Dee says, I draw a lot of my Inktober's with ballpoint. For those that don't know, Inktober is a thing in November that where people suggest prompts, and a number of other people try to draw these items. I know, Dee Dee, you've done Universal Monsters like crazy, so that's quite a few of them that you've done. Sitting in a fast food, unnamed, which starts with Mick. I know, it's McTavish's. And two teens were chasing each other in a crowded setting. Quite out of character, I called out, "Hey, sit down." They did, but Dad said a bad word. October. It's in October. I'm sorry. Thank you, Dee Dee. Inktober is in October. That makes more sense, doesn't it? Jim Luan says, hey, what's going on July 5th? I'm going to be appearing on Jim Luan's show. The next episode of Hey, Man, how's your movie going? Is going to be on July 5th at 10 p.m. EST. And Mr. Jim Luan, the animator of the upcoming film, The Full Fungus, is going to have me on as a guest, which is super duper fun. Following Charlie Rossman, that's a big name to follow, but I'm really looking forward to it. It looks like some fun. Dee Dee is going into her 9th or 10th Inktober this year. That's a lot of them. And she says, that'll be awesome, Jim and Christopher. Oh, well, that's very nice. If you get a chance, check out Jim Luan's Hey Man, how's your movie going stream that he's been doing so far. It's talking about the production and the processes involved in making an animated film. And if it's something you've had some interest in and want to listen to some zany characters talk about the stages and steps along the way, that's a good spot to go. July 5th. Taking down all the American swags. Oh, that's right, because the Americans like to cover everything in American on July 5th. And then on July 4th, during Cinco de Cuatro, isn't that what they do? They do Cinco de Cuatro on Arrested Development, because the one character was trying to keep all of their employees from having to get the day off to go out and have fun. So because she's bitter, she goes and buys up all the supplies she can locally for July 5th celebrations and has it on July 4th instead. It's a whole thing. Dee Dee says, we leave our flag up year-round, except in bad weather. Hiya, Dev. Welcome to the show. So today we're working on drawing conspiracies and reading chickens. And anybody else that's joined us, please feel free to take part. And if you have, hold on, I got it up here. I already typed it out. I'm almost organized. Thank Lori for that. One-page idea or suggestion? I'm curious to all crazy notions you might have. Hey, who's that looking guy in that picture? Oh my gosh. Devin says, yes, love Arrested Development. There's a show that just has its own identifiable voice. You know what I mean? Like there's certain projects that they're very uniquely theirs, right? And I would suggest that Arrested Development is one of those. Whether or not anybody else had done that format in television before, they really own it. They turned it into a whole stylistic thing of their own. Another show I would recommend like that is Pushing Daisies. That was another one. That's by Zemeckis. So you can see some of the places that I put light pressure on to get some of those gradations in there. Those are still holding on. Chip says July 4th celebrates the Battle of Omaha, where the United States defeated Canada with their laser weapons thanks to the help of General McLean Stevenson. Little does Jim know that General McLean Stevenson was working on a Canadian side. Secretly, you belong to us. Anyways, we're coming up with fake histories these days. That's what we do. You must have gone through the USA school system. That's self-condemnation right there, guys. All right, so here's our first officer who's running with his gun and whatnot. I gotta put before I forget the cartridge on there. Oh, what do we got? Bob Loblaw drops Loblock bombs with Chachi. The Seal with Liza Minnelli's. Oh yeah, there's my favorite Bob Loblaw joke or Chachi joke is when the family fires Barry Zuckerkorn, their lawyer played by Henry Winkler, who was the Fonz, and they hire Bob Loblaw to represent them instead, who is Scott Baio, who played Chachi on Happy Days after the Fonz's nephew. And when they say, "Are you okay with following Barry Zuckerkorn as the family's lawyer?" And he says, "That's no problem. I followed him before." It's like, all right. What do we got? On July 1st in Canada, we search in the back corner of the basement, try to find a flag that we put away last year somewhere near the Christmas stash. We don't wave flags as much up here. We've actually got, or we buy those little flags from the dollar store in Canada. We've actually got flags that we have specifically, out on the house. So, it's not that we're, it's a different culture. It's a very different cultural aesthetic. In the United States, they're encouraged from a young age to celebrate their flag because they had to fight for their independence, as opposed to Canada going, "Hey, so England, can we do our own thing there, eh?" And England says, "Okay, you still owe us money." Diddy says, "Family past and present fought for the freedoms. We flew the flag for them." There you go. Dev, I bought the red and white pencils for the kids instead this year. Love it. Yeah, it's just a different aesthetic. It's a different cultural aesthetic. I think that there's far more sense of connectedness that they have down south than Canadians do. Because what's the Canadian identity? Oh, you don't want to get too much into that, eh? We also don't have a lot of, "We got to take this country back to when it was good." We're not sure when that was here. All right, so I'm drawing some more officers in here. Gonna have a little group of them running. What I'm trying to do here is to make sure that wherever I place his ephemera, it has to, if I'm going to have the guy behind him in black as well, I don't want these two guys to bleed together. So I'm putting this really sort of thin spacing line in between them. Really, really minor one. Just helps to separate the two guys. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice way to remember somebody in your family, Dee. That's yeah. Dee, too many generations. We fly the flag at home. Yeah, there's a lot of Canadians that do that. There's a funny little spot here in Canada over in the Great Lakes area where there's a promontory in the lakes area that sort of pokes out into the lake. I can't remember specifically which lake or what the name of the town is. There's here's Canada, but because of the division, the 49th parallel of Canada and the States across our prairie area primarily, over to the west coast, there's this one little promontory that sticks down below that. So this town is half Canadian and half American, and the American part is complete. You can't get to it by land without going through Canada. So they want to sell that to Canada, but the people that live there don't want to be sold to Canada. So it's funny how things like that, we're just going to sell it to Canada. Hey, we're not Canadians. We don't live in Canada. You would think that those people would have dual citizenship in that town, right? Since all the American people have to travel through Canada if they're going to drive by land anywhere. That guy there, Jerry, who works there at the Border Patrol, boy, oh, he is busy. He is so busy. What do we got? Canada, question of the day. Canada was a theme park. What would it be called and who would be the mascot? Well, I don't know, Jim. I mean, that's a good question. Let's leave that up. There's our question of the day. If Canada was a theme park, what would it be called and who would be the mascot? This is actually tougher on the American people following this stream because what do you know about Canadian cultural things? This fits into the whole celebrating of country. The flip side of that is how knowledgeable does that make you about other countries in relationship to that, right? I'm not putting Rachel and Dee's conversation up because it's that's lovely. I want that for them. Everybody in the planet doesn't need that. They can read it in the chat. So, because me reading it doesn't sound the same as the expressions that they're giving each other. So, anyways, like for instance, Rick Mercer, a Canadian comedian, would go to American places. One time he did Harvard, another time he did MIT. And he would ask them questions about Canada, and he would ask the educators there as well as the students. And there's a really great, one of my favorite questions that he would get legitimate answers from people was, so our House of Parliament in Canada, it's called the House of Commons, and we're having a really hard time with it because of global warming, because it's made out of ice. We're starting to see real challenges with keeping its integrity together. And it's a historical monument, so we don't want to lose it. So because it's made of ice, do you think we should switch to this new synthetic ice that doesn't melt, or just keep rebuilding the thing out of new pieces of ice? And our House of Commons, this is what we're talking about here. And you'd be amazed how many people said, just without thinking it through here at all, you should get that synthetic ice. Now maybe they don't understand that, we've called it our seat of government, our House of Government. Maybe they missed that part, right? That it's a building that is basically our White House. Because that's the thing. It's a tricky thing to do that to people in the first place because a lot of people only hear cursory information off the hop. But just to think that the quick answer is, yeah, get synthetic ice, and not think through the fact that they just said that building was made out of ice. So north of wherever, mascot should be called Deef, only because he has an interesting face. And not a single American has any idea who Diefenbaker is. Canada? Jim says Canada land. Okay, so let's write these down. Let me get paper. Oh, paper. I should put this. I'll put it in the book. We got a book for this. Okay. So we've got, what do we got? Canada, theme park, and mascot. That's our question today. These might be one pages. If Canada was a theme park. So we've got Diefenbaker. How'd you spell Dief? And north of whatever. 60? I don't know. And then we've got Jim's Canada Land. I think that exists. I think that was up by Ottawa. And our mascot would be Eugene Levy. He's got 2 left feet, you know. Anybody that gets that reference, you're going to get a free drawing from me. Specifically if you're an American. Canoe Park, eh? Okay, let me get these up. Canada Land, and the mascot would be Eugene Levy. Devin says, Canoe Park, eh? The mascot would be Jim Carrey. Oh my gosh. We got, and it have one big eyebrow. There you go. John Diefenbaker was a prime minister, eh? Good for you, frankly. Frank is secretly Canadian. All right, frankly, you got to get on this too. If Canada was a themed park, what would it be called? And who would be the mascot? Okay, so I put the book over there for a moment, and just to let people percolate that up in their noggins there, eh? So, in the prairies, when SCTV was at its height of popularity in the 1970s, late 70s, early 80s, because of the popularity of Bob and Doug McKenzie, which initially was because, I'll explain how that show came about, or that skit came about in the first place in a second, but they had a Bob and Doug Day, and so people from far and wide amongst the prairies came to this town dressed up as Bob and Doug, drinking beers in their cars and causing all kinds of ruckus. So Jim says, is that a reference to Waiting for Guffman? Oh, so close, so close, so close. No, so close. I can't give you any hints. If I give you the slightest bit of hint, then you're going to get it. You're just going to get it. Okay, we got some more coming in here. Alex Trebek. Can't call it home and native land. Tim Hortons land. What about Timbuktu? So Tim Hortons land and Alex Trebek. It's hard. He's passed away now, but so this is Jim. This is, I think, was that you, Rachel, for Diefenbaker first? And I just get a second one in here. And then we got Devin for Canoe Park, eh? Just like the A part at the end of it. That's the best. Devin says, Tim Hortons land mascot, a talking hockey puck named Doug. Tim Hortons land, talking hockey puck named Doug. Can I name him Peter? Because then he gets sued by the NHL. The 2 left feet is from Best in Show. Good man, frankly. Good man. Jim Bucker, too. We might have a winner there, folks. Tim Barker 2 land, eh? That's what I'm going to extend that a little bit. If Canada were a theme park, it'd be called Maple Land, and the mascot be a cartoon bottle of maple syrup. Psh, take off. Would not. This is frankly Maple Land. And the mascot would be a cartoon bottle of maple syrup. The hockey puck named Wayne lost out to Doug when he left Canada. Oh my. Nice. Okay. Well, I'm going to set it aside for a second again. I got to get back to doing some more drawing here, folks. What are we at? 41 minutes. Hey, we're having fun. Today, I'm listening to, no, this is a little known band. They're called the Beatles. The Beatles. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those, but they need haircuts. I'll just say that much. So here's a fun question about the Beatles. Now, people like them and don't like them. I'm going to give you that. But I tend to like the songs that aren't the big hits, like Two of Us, stuff like that. And do you think that that's because of the big hit songs for the Beatles are overplayed? Or do you think it's just because I like the quirky ones? Oh, Didi's out for the phone call. Frank sees Canada has nothing but maple syrup and Mounties. Oh, there you go. The park has to be patrolled by Mounties. I think we're putting together a comic here, folks. I'm looking forward to being on Hey Man, How's Your Movie Going on the 5th. I really am. That's going to be a lot of fun. Disney bought the rights to the Mounties. We don't even own them anymore. But we do love our maple syrup. Yummy. I miss it so much. So I'm drawing, our first panel, so the idea of this page, drawing conspiracies and reading chickens. I talked about this at the start of the stream. I'm drawing a bunch of, I'm approaching this like a Keystone Cops film from the 1930s. The Keystone Cops was pre-talkies. And they would have, here's the criminal, and he hops up and down, he runs this way, and then there's the cops, and they're all holding their hats, and they're all running after him, and he hops over a puddle in the ground, and they all fall into it, and it's like 8 feet deep. Or they all get in they get in a police vehicle, and it spins the corner, or they get in a fire truck, and as it turns around the corner, the ladders extend, and they're all kinds of stuff like that. So weren't the Beatles Sean Ono Lennon's dad's band? I think I read something about that. No, you're wrong. It's Julian Lennon's dad. I'm squishing your head. That's Kids in the Hall. That's Kids in the Hall. Yeah, there you go. That's the best. Quick. Top 3 Beatles songs. Two of Us, I Dig a Pony, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I have a little more? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I love you. See? Kids in the Hall. Kids in the Hall. Pretty close there. I'm looking forward to being on Hey Man, How's Your Comic Going on the 6th, Jim? Jim says, happiness is a warm gun. Come together and things we said today. Oh, nice. Nice. I just like a song that starts off with, I dig a pony. I like the weird ones. So I'm just drawing somebody holding their Billy Club stick here. And then I think I'm going to cut this panel and we're going to jump into the next one. And then we'll draw CIA agents. Why not, right? Interview with Paul McSee put a whole new light on number 2, Jim. Oh my. Top 3 Beatles songs. Where's Gary? Gary! Gary! Oh, I got this. Look at the size of this ruler. Jeez. I got a ruler here. I'll tell you what. I gotta clean this ruler off. Starting to get a little bit on the dirty side. Dirty ruler. How can you not dig a pony? Gary is tied up right now, Jim. So I'm just putting in some of these little details of the next officer running into the panel. And ideally, by having people running in and out of panels, it sort of, gives the idea of movement, right? So I've had a good day. I've had a bunch of business-related situations this morning. Phone calls and messages and what now, who's what. And I'm not complaining, not in the slightest little bit, because any one of these opportunities that comes along, we gotta pursue them when we can, folks. If you get an opportunity your way, I hope you chase it down. Allow all those hard efforts that you've been doing to come back to you a little bit. Okay, so here's our next person coming in. And then we'll put some background in on that as well. What do we got? I'm missing stuff here. Sorry, guys. Please give Gary his meds. He can't miss a cycle. Take care of him. He's yours now. Score! Janet, where's Janet? Cheers. Don't worry. Heavenly chorus. Ruler. This is about our friend Janet, who really likes rulers. I mean, really likes. It's awkward. Nice to see you, Christopher. Thanks for the last and a trip down memory lane. Can't wait to see you reading chickens. Gotta run. Bye, Devin. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Fed him this morning, gave Gary his pills. There we go. Uh-oh, look out, everybody. It's Mr. Joshua Kimball. He loved the Miami Vice page. Thanks, Joshua. I appreciate that. I liked your stream yesterday. That was good. I'm trying to think of, there was one of the parts of the title of it that made me giggle. I wish off the top of my head, it's something about, something negative about the artist. I can't remember what it was. Made me giggle. Okay, Josh, now that you're here, top 3 Beatles songs. Go! There's 2 things at play right now, Josh. One is the top 3 Beatles songs. Just write that down on a piece of paper and set it aside. Because what we really want to know, first and foremost, is if Canada was a theme park, what would it be called and who would the mascot be? Because Joshua has spent time in Canada, folks. He came here to borrow some sugar one time there, eh? You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I might want to put Across the Universe in there. Just because if you've heard the original and not this bazillions of remakes that have come out, right? It's really strangely discordant. And yet at the same time, it all connects, but it's the tuning of it is off. It sounds like somebody's playing with an off-tune guitar. So I've always liked that. Oh, host a Zine workshop on Saturday. I took it. They want me to do more. Good for you, frankly. That's fantastic. Uh-oh, Gary. Gary. Top 3 Beatles songs, Gary. Top 3 Beatles songs. 1. Write that down. Number 2. If Canada was a theme park, what would it be called? What would it be called? And who would the mascot be? And please, anybody that's joined the stream today, feel free to answer that. Just pop in, shoot your answer out, and disappear back into the shadows. Back behind the veil of maple syrup. Just putting in a couple of little random high contrast details in the background, and then I think I need to get on to drawing the CIA guys. Shh. Is it inappropriate that I have them all pushing vacuums? Anybody get that? Anybody? So this plays into what Jim has done to us today. I have no problem with people shouting out, hey, here's a question of the day, or here's something to chat about today. And Jim's usually on top of that too. So one of the suggestions that I have outstanding right now is a one-page comic about Jim Luan and Gary Hodges and their best out of 5 or top 5 lists. And it's something I've just never taken a moment to do, but maybe I should be doing that. Here's one of the things that I have had to confront with my publisher is that in this arrangement, I can't specifically, like Chuck Norris fashion show is not a page that's allowed to be in the book. That page is, unless I get Chuck Norris's express permission from my publisher. So, okay, Gary says, top 3 Beatles songs. Okay, let me think about this. So the reason I bring that up is as I'm going through all the pages about what we're going to put in the next book, there's certain things that I have to be aware of for the legal aspects of things. And because we live in such a highly litigious society, I can't use real names of people. So the Chris Walken page that I did I changed it to remove his name. I had to go through and change the text to take his name out as Mr. Walken. But so we'll be able to do that book. Because that's, but the Werner Herzog book, it's, I can't, the Werner Herzog page, there's too many Herzog statements, and it's very clearly Herzog. So, okay, Josh Campbell's got his 3 on. In my life, these are the top 3 Beatles songs. In my life, while my guitar gently weeps, and happiness is a warm gun. Okay, Gary, he'd say quick. Come on, Gary. Anyways. Rachel says, well, they really cleaned up. Why not push vacuums? So, crap come together is another way I wish I could sneak in there. Yeah, come together is a great one. I like I Me Mine. I mean, there's so many. Yeah. Change Chuck Norris to Nick Churros. No, it's all embedded at this point. I'd have to redo so much of the page. It's just not, forget it. It's not happening. Okay, I'm going to stop on this. In fact, if I'm going to do one more thing, I might put just one more officer here in the foreground. And let's bring him a little bit closer and make him jacked. So I had a new open for the show today where I actually have a regular thing I'm going to say from now on. So if you were here at the start, then you got to hear it. And if not, I don't know. This will be my new, how I open the streams, because generally the whole, oh, hey, hi, how are you? What's happening? Thing isn't working. So now I wanted to do Nick Churros. Please do a Nick Churros page, frankly. Can we change it to albums? Too late, Josh. It's too late. Just let it go, man. Just let it go. Put it down. Revolver, Abbey Road, White Album. Let it go. Just let it go. Did I say Revolver? Do I mean Rubber? Yeah, no, Revolver. Oh. Jeff Franklin says, you made your choice, Josh. Josh, that is absolutely illegal. I can't believe you brought that up. Rachel says, a White Album for sure. Half the people are chastising, the other people are throwing in their choices. So just putting in this guy as a rather beefy arm. The page from yesterday was that was fun. That was fun. I tried a couple different things there in the approach to it, but I definitely tried to capture that 1980s absolutely horrible color scheme. White Album, 100%. There we go. We're all on that one. That's the number 1. Okay, Gary's going with his cut. He's going to say something. Here comes the sun. And in my life. Gary, that's only 2. Did you just Google the Beatles? Did you just Google that, Gary? Leave him alone, Jim. He's never heard of them. He got off perplexed at first and started guessing ELO songs. Frank's got Gary in the basement still. It took way too long, Gary. You had to look that up. White Album, then Abbey Road, then Rubber Soul. Thank you. I said Revolver. I think I meant Rubber Soul. Drats. I need to type it or not. What am I missing? Hi, Christopher and all. Hi, Barbara. So, Barbara, the 2 questions are, at the moment, and I'm going to do this for anybody that checks in and says hi. If Canada was a themed park, what would it be called, and what would be the mascot? 1. And the second one, top 3 songs by the Beatles. That one's that'll be easy. That's not going to be hard at all. That's not going to make you try to guess albums instead. So I've been writing these down, the theme park and the mascot. And so we might be turning these into something here, folks. We did this before where we talked about in 500 years, in 500 years, where would science be? And that became the 500 years from now series of pages that have been done in the one-page format with the mad scientist, Dr. Corbell Johansson. Science! These references will only make sense when you pick up a copy of my next book. Or if you go through all the pages. What do we got? Oh, I started writing down songs and stopped when I had 8. Okay. New Canadian theme park. Name it. Name a mascot. Joshua says. Colorado potato, Japanese Hercules. What happened? I think Josh hit his head. What? What just... Are these the names of a theme park? How about the surgery, Rachel? Yeah, we all want to know. We want you to take it easy too, Rachel, please. Thumbs up, everyone. I can't draw this way. Theme park, my house. I was actually going to have the Olympics at my house. All right, Barbara's house. I only write your name, by the way, as you spell it on your Barbara Chicken Pot Pie Society. I only write Barbara with the apostrophe now. So Barbara's suggestion is my house. I was actually going to have the Olympics at my house. Now, Gary shows a complete lack of control. In 500 beers, where will science be? That could be a sequel. I'll write it in the book. In 500 years, in 500 beers, where will science be? I'll write that as a Josh suggestion. And for anybody that's joined us late, something special is happening on July 5th. I'll be a guest 10 p.m. EST on Mr. Jib Luhan's channel. July 5th, 10 p.m. EST for, hey man, how's your movie going? I'll be a guest on that show with Mr. Jim Luhan. So I'm very excited. Janet's joined us. Everybody behave. Janet, you missed my ruler action. Rachel, I overthink. Those were actual Beatles. The actual Beatles were Colorado Potato, Japanese, and Hercules. My favorite Beatles album is the one with the songs. Thank you, Jim. Wikipedia helps. And the mascot, hi, Janet M. Young. So Barbara's mascot is Janet M. Young. There we go. You got it in the book. It's too late. I already had the ruler out. Frank's top. I want it that way. Perfect fan. Quit playing games with my heart. Wrong band, Frank. Janet just bought a new ruler, Rachel. Gary says my album picks would be generic. Abbey Road, Rubber Soul, White Album. I don't think that's called generic. I think that's called the good ones, and I think we pretty much universally agree on that one because that's 3 of us that have said the same 3 albums now. Hell yeah! The Beatles. Okay, they were a good band, but I'm only playing if we're talking about the Guess Who. No, they're next. They're next. Josh, yes, real Beatles, but can they sing? All the kids are into a bubble with boys these days. Siri hates me. Josh, those were actual Beatles. Actual Beatles are John, Paul, Ringo, and George and Ringo. Pedantic Gary. I don't think it's John Paul, George, or Ringo. I think it's John, Matt, Luke, and John. What? I like Revolution in 1968, but really never cared for the Beatles. Don't shoot me. Revolution number 9. It's a deep philosophical. These are deep questions. Can we talk about the Bee Gees? You get out. No. Or ABBA, you come back in. Who do we need somebody to start spouting out some ABBA lyrics. Who can we call on for spouting out lyrics at the drop of a dime? Okay, I'm going to get this movie here and get on to the next panel. Okay, so we've got the Beatles thing pretty well covered. Let's think about if Canada was a themed park, what would it be called, and what would the mascot be? I love the Bee Gees. They're on my Nostalgia Mix playlist. Remember Opus 69? Favorite J-Boy. Josh or Jim. I'm going to go with my grandson, Jensen. Oh, Josh says this is Jim. J-Boy's forever. I've changed my name now. Change it to ShamWow. I missed. That starts with a J. Fernando is good at ABBA lyrics. J-Boy Walton. Nice. Okay. John Boy. Good night, John Boy. Good night, Paul. Good night, Ma. So, to get this light pen mark that I'm using now, I've got the pen practically on its side. Now, I can keep a consistently light line doing it this way, but all of that ink pools up on the opposite side of the brush, so you got to turn it out to get rid of it. Okay, that's enough of that. I'll finish in the rest of it later on. My favorite Canadian theme park ride is the Polite Bystander. I like that one. I also like that. Take it easy, eh? All right. Okay, slow down. Slow down there, eh? Or I like the swimming pool at the theme park. It's called, wait half an hour there, fella. Walk, please. Many times. Okay, so now we're doing running feds. Queue up is my favorite. That's very, 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 very British. Very British. I thought she said polite babysitter, Jim. Nobody rides. Everybody just stands in line. Barbara says the mascot would be horses wearing our CMP guard. Hold on, we'll get that down. Excellent. That was excellent. For top 5, did we do top artist bands or merely top albums? All right. Okay, so we got our police running this way, and I think we're going to do the CIA guys running the opposite way, because I think that to me would be fun. You know. What would it be? Would it be guys in suits, or would it be, I guess, the jackets? Would it be the jackets? But put them in the jackets. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll have them all going like that with the guns. Yeah, that's how I enter a room with a gun. So I'm roughing in the shape and form of it, but I have to figure out how close I'm going to have these guys together. Because, you got to have them all like a little group there. They're all trying to, what's that called? Breaching a building. What was it in that whole fugitive thing with Tommy Lee Jones there, eh? So I'm drawing, this is the torso and the shoulders that I'm moving into now. For a while there, I was doing an entire book in ballpoint, and it was 32 pages. I had actually permanently stained the back of my hand for probably about, 3 months. We got that would be line. Only if they have Disney mascots on their garb. There you go. My favorite Pope was John Paul George Ringo III. Since Bee Gees were mentioned, we should do top 5 musical guilty pleasures. I cannot wait until one of his picks, right, said Fred. You know who I'm talking about. Barbara says, change my mind. The mascot should be a horse riding a nude RCMP and wearing RCMP gears. I put that in the book. Rachel the Mouse would sue Chris. Nobody wants that. Dee Dee's nostalgic bands are the ones she saw in concert. It means more when you're there in person. Yeah, that's why I have fond memories of Sass Jordan. Frankly's nostalgic band is Backstreet Boys and the Monkees. Don't lie, Frankly. That's not a nostalgic band. That's an everyday band for you. A nostalgic band is a combination of my favorites as a teen and 20-something, the music that was playing in the house when I was growing up. My nostalgic bands are, when I was a kid, for some reason, I was really into the Ink Spots. And not that I was, around when the Ink Spots were in their heyday, but I liked the Ink Spots. I liked Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Gordon Lightfoot, Janis Joplin. I was a weird kid. These were my rebellious bands because all my mother listened to was Marie Bottrell and what was that family of sisters that had a TV show, whatever the heck they were, and Neil Diamond. And yeah, my mother took us to see, I got a fun story for you. Here's a fun story. What is Vivian's first live concert? Mine was In Excess. Mine was April Wine. No, mine was Triumph. I don't remember the order I saw them. My nostalgic band was the Turtles. So an earring that they gave me. Ooh, that's awesome. Ebbetsfield, Denver, Colorado, with a guy named Joe. Nice. Janis Joplin. That goes without saying. You gotta love Janis. All the bands that came to San Antonio in the 70s. Let's look them up. Christian church bands are the only ones I've ever seen in concert. Is that right? I've seen a lot of kind of random things in concert, but Modest Mouse was a really good show. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was a good one. No Means No was an incredible show. I don't know if any of you guys know who I'm talking about, though. If you don't, please look up the song Sex Mad by No Means No. South Pacific, Carousel, Phantom of the Opera, Brigadoon, The Mikado. Those were. That's not albums. That's actual performances. The mosh pit's getting early. Seriously, look up No Means No. Okay. So I got to put the CIA thing on the back of these, or is that the FBI that does that? Law enforcement's crazy. So I've got to have his arm here. I think I'm going to have his arm raised up. And then his second arm with the thumb holding the gun. There we go. And then we'll have him tucked down behind an automobile. I'm missing a bunch of stuff. Musical was the word I was looking for. So thank you so much, Rachel. I had tickets to Tool and skipped because I was intimidated what I imagined the crowd would be like. Yo, what? What are you, crazy? That would have been a good show, Gary. The crowd, there's a lot of people like me. That might have been a good choice. Hello, girls and boys. Hello, Cad and Paste. Technicality. I'll get my lawyer on it. No Means No is now on my listening list. Look up the song The Day Everything Became Nothing. I saw The King and I with Yul Brynner. That's pretty cool. Hi, frankly, my dear. You dated Yul Brynner? Yul Brynner was my dad, Frank. Okay. It's funny, the bands that we in the performances that we sort of connect with, I got to see for it was Lori and I for our honeymoon. We went and saw Fiddler on the Roof, and we were right in front of the stage. So every time they're doing these Russian leaps in the air, it looked like they were 19 feet in the air. It was fantastic. But I saw him. I didn't date him. Try to follow the rules, and what do you get? Ridicule. Okay, Kat, and anybody else that's joined us late? The two questions I played today. One is, if Canada was a theme park, what would it be called? And who would the mascot be? Okay? Theme park, mascot. Number two, top 3 Beatles songs. Oh, boy. What about the bands we had at our school gym? I went to H.B. Beale. Rush played in our school gym. I wasn't in that high school at the time. Rush's first concert was at H.B. Beale's secondary school in London, Ontario. Isn't that fun? I saw none of the bands that I saw in high school went anywhere. But, okay, here's some bands that I've seen, and I apologize for this in advance. And some of the Canadian bands that we have are the Bare Naked Ladies, and then out on the West Coast, there's the New Pornographers. There's a theme here. Anyways, can we please keep it clean, Dee Dee? Silver Heights actually had the Guess Who. Ah, nice. Principal had to come in and tell them they were too loud. Oh my gosh, This Is My Land. Amusement park? Oh my gosh, hold on. Okay, cat. This is my land. Is the park, amusement park, no less. And Trudeau running around. I really like the second half of that. Running around looking for photo ops. I think you should be spitting at people when they turn around. Oh no. All right, I saw some local punk bands. Oh yeah. Well, that's not Christian music then, Frank. Of course, it was a principal that shut it down. Didi, you're the only person I know who has a pair of Sean Connery slippers under the edge of your bed. That was a secret. Okay, so I've gotta draw this person with their eyes downturned. Okay, so here's our first guy. Now, I think I need to have the next one. He's going to have his arms down. What am I missing? I'm sorry. One year we went to the principal, asked for a live band. He said, no dancing will be allowed. He said, before we know it, we'll be having boys to our house for tea. Oh my, what kind of people have I got in my stream here? Did you open up the Bible and footloose them? Scandalous, Gary says. Oh, he wasn't Christian when he saw them. He forgot about the punk bands. I have a framed photo of him as 007 in the man cave. However, I think he was Debonair in Hunt for Red October. Did you see him in Zardos? Wow, huh? Wow. Frame photo is 2.3 feet. That's called a poster, DD. That is a poster. I didn't think it was clothes you were interested in, DD. I thought it was his mind. Poor Sean. He just wants to play some golf. Hung on the ceiling over my bed. Oh, for heaven's sakes. I had a life-size cardboard standee of Linda Carter dressed as Wonder Woman. Hey, does anybody remember oh, Gary. There's the Farrah Fawcett poster. Does anybody remember that from the 70s, 80s? That she exhibits all of the submissive traits of a female primate in one poster. She literally exhibits every submissive trait of a female primate. I'm just saying. That the poster's kind of a tragedy. Yeah, in the orange one piece. Oh my goodness. Gary remembers it. Gary. I thought her poster was beautiful. I'm not saying it's not beautiful, but there's a reason that it connects to us all. Because women like it and men like it. But there's reasons for that. Now, I saw New Direction at Red Rock. It really changed my life. Gary, I just choked on my water. I didn't have one, but she was stunning. Yeah, the place that I managed for years, we still had one up in the bathroom. That's not exactly the best HR thing. They didn't understand art. I'm ordering that poster now, Frank says. I went to a lot of concerts at Red Rock. Great place. Nice. Gary did not understand art at the time either. How do you explain that blown up? Okay. He told you those things in confidentiality, ladies. Guilty pleasures. Top 3 guilty pleasures. Boy, oh boy. That's going to be a good list. I mean, how much are you willing to admit? Is that a thing that you can order? Can somebody send me a link? Hey, God, I'm putting away stuff from Hobby Lobby. Oh, my goodness. You got mail coming. Nice. Yeah, you can order that poster still. There we go. 1:30. Get this panel done. Just getting this have to clean that up in a second. What am I missing? I think I'm going to order. Send me a link. Big mistake. Barbara's probably written a song about it by now. Guilty pleasure, Tom Jones. That is not a guilty pleasure. That is a right. $14 to that poster on Amazon, Gary. Gary says, I'll save my guilty pleasures in case Jim and I do a top 5 of them, but I promise they are embarrassing. My guilty pleasure is sloth and gluttony. Those are my cousins. Janet loves embarrassing. Neil Diamond. Okay, my Neil Diamond story. All right, my Neil Diamond story. Engelbert Humperdinck. Yes. You know, that's not that guy's real name. He changed it to that for stage performances. That guy chose to be called Engelbert Humperdinck. Remember in Goonies when Chunk just invited that enormous disabled man to live with them? Sloth! Sloth loved Chunk. Zing! Dinosaurs versus Marbots. Okay, my Neil Diamond story. My parents got divorced. And so while we are young people, there was a theater in London that was specifically it played Disney films. It's called the Mall Theater. Anyhow, when we were just divorced, my mother needed to do something for us, and because we'd moved to this terrible apartment and we'd lost everything, and so my mother was trying to return a semblance of normalcy to our lives and to try to do something fun for a change. And so she saved up for about 3 months, and she took us all to the movie theater, which was very exciting. And she took us to see Jonathan Livingston Seagull. I was just letting that sink in for a moment. Now, how does this pertain to Neil Diamond? Neil Diamond wrote the entire soundtrack for Jonathan Livingston Seagull. So if you can imagine this existential birds flying around, questioning the individual existence of themselves and wondering about what the purpose in life is. Am I flying? Is it my whole nature just to soar on the wind? Lonely looking sky, I gotta be free. Neil Diamond. So yeah, she didn't mean to scar us, but it just came naturally. Of course, you do embarrassing. We're disagreeing. I disagree, Gary. I feel we're very much agreeing. Arnold George Dorsey just didn't fly as a stage name for Engelbert. Engelbert Humperdinck. The Birds. Is that a guilty pleasure? Is The Birds? John Denver's real name was Henry John Dusseldorf. Hitchcock. Is that? Oh, Hitchcock's The Birds. What about it? What am I missing? I have company. Later, guys. Bye, Deed. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I think my mother had a thing for Neil Diamond because I also remember watching The Jazz Singer with her. At a certain point, get sent to my room. Go to your room. Who else watching this? Not anymore, you're not. You gotta watch The Jazz Singer to get that reference. Okay, so here's our agents. So I'm gonna have to come in here and cut in with the white. I hope your company isn't Yul Brynner. Oh my goodness. And everyone has to have a name. There's this one guy, he was really good for running a lot of songs, but his name was Assemble. Just getting this in here. So I think I'll have these guys behind the vehicle. I don't know. John Denver was great. I had seasons of music. John Denver was a season, or at least a part of one. My new stage name will be Yeezy Humperdinck. That's Siri. Siri got you down the spelling. There's a guy in London that went on to the House of Commons, anyways. But he was the agricultural reporter on our local news, and when we had agricultural reporting, and his name was Ross Daly, There's a Canadian band called Ross Daly. They just named themselves after this guy. And from what I understand, one of his sons is in that band. John Jacob Jiggle Henderson. That name is my name too. Oh, for goodness sakes. I have seasons too. High school, 20s, 30s, 40s, specific girlfriends, etc. It's very granular. Old Dirty Humperdink. Old Dirty Humperdink sings you the greatest hits in rap music. They call me a gop killer. Can't remember his name all of a sudden. I was going to tell you my secret thing, who I really like. Tony Bennett. That's who I like. Hey, kids, all right. We're going to have a great show tonight. Let's start singing. Okay. I love Tony Bennett. For some reason, we got some cokes in here. Don't be everybody. Has anybody ever seen the impression that Alec Baldwin did of Tony Bennett on the Tony Bennett Show on SNL? And his guest tonight is Tony Bennett. And the real Tony Bennett walks out. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun. Nice. I like the Violent Femmes from the West Coast, from BC there. They got a song called I Like American Music. Baby. The Pixies, that's Canadian. You're welcome. Humperdinck, I've never seen it. No. I'm falling apart here. Boom, boom, boom. Waitress tipping is a sport in Canada. I have a thing that I do, and I am constantly talking to managers. This is a thing I do, and when we get like a cool service person or a cool waitress or whatever it is, I will always ask for the manager, and I'll say to that person, "It's a good thing. Can I talk to your manager?" And I like to sing the praises of our waitresses and our service people to their managers, just because for years I was a manager, and that doesn't happen enough. It's a crap business, having to serve others in a restaurant or in any place where people feel they have complete license to denigrate you as they're, getting whatever service it is that you're working at. Yeah, you got to make sure that we sing those people's praises. I do it all the time. Okay, so this is my FBI guys behind a vehicle. And just to make it a little more comprehensive, we'll put the wheel well in there too. What am I missing? Tony Bennett duet with Amy Winehouse was excellent. That was an excellent duet. I loved it. All the kids loved it at home. The parents loved it. All right. I learned it by watching you. Frankly. Can you show the page close up? Yeah. But you make sure you rest your eyes, Rachel. So here is the guys in the second panel is FBI guys. And the guys in the first panel is a bunch of police running to something. So this page is the conspiracy, drawing conspiracies and reading chickens. And so right off the hop, I'm going to have all kinds of governmental agencies and people running around like heat-strung cops. And then we're going to move right into the chicken business. It's going to get foul all up in this piece. Have you ever made a comic or art character as a straight-up insult to a person? Yes. Numerous times. And his name starts with haircut and ends in shouldn't be our prime minister. Anyways. Fun fact, my tagline on YouTube used to be tip your waitress and then COVID. Josh, yes. I do that too, and I make sure the salesperson's present when I compliment them. Oh, yeah, of course. Well, unless they're busy. I once called a company and delivered a large appliance. I told the manager they did a fabulous job. His response was, okay, but how can I help you? That stinks. Yeah, I have, there are a few, if you notice it, there's a number of pages that I have that talk about do we really have to take some people seriously, or stop listening to dumb things. And both of those feature somebody that I don't like. It's the only political thing I do. That spread communist propaganda up in the quad. All right, so here's our second. Panel come together pretty well. A little bit of a fiddly bit I have to do in here, but that's all right. We'll get to it. We're going to come back to these bits and bobs after these commercials. Time is money, Barbara. How can I help you? Your kids ran my car. Now listen to what I'm saying about your waitress. Okay, so here's our agents hiding behind the vehicle. Bang, bang, pow, pow. Okay. So now, for the third panel, this should do some Men in Black. That's what I should do. Having worked in food service, there's sadly not much in place to deal with good feedback. But boy, oh boy, bad feedback throws wheels into motion. Oh, you bet it does. It's exactly how it sounded in my mind. Uh-oh. Okay. So yeah, so now it's time to draw some Men in Black. I think that there's really only one way to do this, and that is, draw their feet. I remember at one point in time, I really wanted to see Styx in concert. That's a concert that I never got to go to. It was specifically Mr. Roboto, but they blew up right after that. So for the most part, Canadians don't take their politicians or any politics as seriously as Americans do. That's true. We have had a couple of parties like the Bindu Flyers and the Rhino Party. We almost elected Doug Henning to office. Magic! That guy. You think California's crazy for hiring actors to be politicians. Canada, hire anybody. My president made your prime minister cry. The wind makes our prime. Anyways. He very well might have. Ah! I have to believe America, elects more wackos, thus the tension. Nope, I think that America has 3 countries that don't realize they're not one. There's a really crazy demographic thing you got going on in the States that that sort of decries, it being one thing. Whereas Canada, we're all really not sure we're part of it all anyways, eh? We've got one province that's been trying to get out ever since they joined. Rachel says, "Sal, I can make our prime minister cry." Also true. Barbara is a hot tamale. It's a challenging thing, politics. Everybody's got strong opinions on them. As do I. Here's my hot political tape. Are you ready? This show's about to get all political up in this piece. I don't trust any of them. Anyways, that's it. Hey, has anybody seen any of these recent videos with Dick Van Dyke with an awesome beard? Has anybody seen that? Top 15 Hoobastank songs. Oh, once you've had a mayor who smokes crack cocaine, what's to say except sorry, eh? Bring me back the John Chrétien level of a prime minister. John Chrétien, who's in the same party that the ones that's in office now. When he was a prime minister, somebody broke into his house. Somebody literally broke into our prime minister's house. They grabbed him by the throat and put him to the ground. Oh, is this, get out of my house, eh? I'll punch you in your nose. This guy comes in my house. I said, that's enough of that. Wait a minute. What the heck? They're going to remove canned news from his platform. Does Canada actually have a platform? Hot take, but politicians lie sometimes. Qu'est-ce que c'est, Fidel? Hot take, potatoes taste bland. Oh, Josh Campbell is on fire with the hot takes. Here's a very Canadian thing. Okay. Who here knows what Yo Mama is? Who here knows what a Yo Mama disagreement is between two people? Does anybody? I think I just took all the ink out of this pen, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, deadpan. Another deadpan. Yo Mama is when somebody, is disparaging to the other person's mother. Your mama's so big when she sits around the house, she sits around the house, right? Terrible things like that. I remember when I was a teenager, we would have Yo Mama fights, but they would be like, Your mama's so nice. I went over to her house. I took out the recycling while I was waiting for you. She said, I'm a nice kid. It was the stupidest game, but still a lot more fun. What do we got? That's outrageous. Potatoes taste bland. He believes the other part, though. 2 strikes, Josh. Your mama knows what a yo mama joke is. Your mama's so nice, she let me change for the bus. Yeah. Your mama's so nice, she called my mom to ask if I could sleep over. Anyways. Dick Van Dyke had a beard on the Dick Cavett show. I mean, look at Dick Van Dyke's beard now. Like he's, how Letterman's grown out that crazy white beard? Dick Van Dyke's got one too. But if you ever hear a real Dick Van Dyke interview, not one that's on like one that's on like a podcast now or just to a person, he's really direct. He's not offensive, but he's really direct, right? And it's so refreshing to hear a guy go, Hollywood was crazy in those days. Yeah. There's a lot of bruised egos, but one person in the ERB. Nice. Okay. I think I'm going to sign out. We're at 152. Thanks for coming and joining in, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a lot of super fun for me. So, like I said at the beginning, if you have a suggestion or an idea for a one page, send it my way, however you want to do it. Because as you know, 2:00 every day, Monday through Friday. And then I'm also doing them on the weekends and posting them. But Monday through Friday, 2:00 right here. Tell your friends, tell your grandmas. Huh? We don't call our grandmas enough, do we? They miss you. They tell everybody you know. Let's have some fun. If you've got some one-page ideas, please let me know. I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff today. In 500 beers, where will science be? Is the suggestion I got out of Josh Kimball today. So super keen. What do we? Just going to follow up on the last things that are being said. Would it not be thine mother? Who exactly were the ladies and who were the gentlemen? Thanks, Christopher. Check Carol. You know who you were. All right. Thanks very much, everybody. It's been super fun. I will see you 2:00 EST tomorrow. Bye for now.